The last person I would ever want to be caught off guard by is someone I've known my whole life. But it happens in the most unexpected way. That was the thought that raced through Thomas's mind as he stood in the dimly lit hallway of the small apartment building he called home. The bright neon sign flickered above him, advertising the vacant room he had for rent. He had been hesitant to list it, but the bills were piling up, and he needed the extra income. What he didn't expect was the person who would knock on his door to rent it. Clad in a simple red dress and holding a book against her chest, Olivia stood before him, her eyes a mixture of excitement and curiosity. To Thomas, she was just another college student looking for a place to stay, just another face in the crowd. But there was something about Olivia that felt different. She had a certain grace, a calmness that made her stand out even in the most crowded of spaces. "Hi, I saw your ad," Olivia said with a gentle smile, her voice soft yet confident. "I'm looking for a room to rent for the semester. Is the one you posted still available?" Thomas didn't know it at the time, but this innocent exchange would turn his life upside down in ways he could never have imagined. What he didn't know was that Olivia wasn't just a college student. She was the daughter of a powerful, wealthy businessman. Her father, a self-made millionaire, had built a business empire from the ground up, and Olivia, despite her privileged upbringing, had always craved normalcy and independence. Renting a room from a single dad in a modest building was her way of breaking free from the golden cage her family had built around her. Thomas was a single dad, struggling to make ends meet after his wife had passed away years ago. He had always prided himself on being able to provide for his daughter, Emily, on his own. The two of them had built a life together in the little apartment, and Thomas worked tirelessly to ensure that Emily had everything she needed. But the bills, the repairs, and the weight of it all were beginning to take a toll. Renting out that extra room seemed like the only option. Olivia's presence in the building was both a blessing and a challenge. As she settled in, Thomas couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between her world and his. She had a quiet elegance about her, always well-dressed and polished, yet never flaunting her wealth. Thomas, on the other hand, was a man of simple means. His worn-out jeans and t-shirts, the constant exhaustion in his eyes, were a testament to the struggles he faced every day. At first, Thomas didn't think much of it. He was focused on making sure his daughter was happy and that the bills were paid. But as the days passed, he began to notice little things. Olivia didn't spend much time around her room. Instead, she would often be out, helping local businesses with small charity events or volunteering at the community center. She was humble, kind, and always willing to lend a hand. She was everything Thomas admired in a person: generous, selfless, and full of heart. But even with her kindness, there was an air of secrecy about her. Thomas could sense it. One evening, as he sat in the living room watching television, Emily came rushing in, her face flushed with excitement. "Dad, you won't believe what happened today," she said, her eyes wide. "What's going on, sweetheart?" Thomas asked, setting the remote down. "You remember Olivia, the girl renting the room? Well, she came to our school today. She's hosting this huge event at the charity I've been working with for the past month, and she's invited me to help," Emily said, bouncing on her heels. Thomas smiled. "That's great, Em. I'm proud of you for getting involved." But his smile faded as he thought about Olivia. She had never mentioned the event to him. It struck him as odd that Olivia, who had barely exchanged more than a few words with him, would be so involved with his daughter's school charity. She had always been polite, always smiled, but there was a guardedness to her that seemed out of place. The next few weeks went by, and the connection between Olivia and Emily grew stronger. Olivia would often spend hours at the charity, working side by side with Emily, organizing events, and helping with fundraising. Thomas couldn't deny the bond they shared, but the mystery of Olivia's life still loomed over him. One evening, as Thomas was fixing dinner, there was a knock on the door. It was Olivia. "Hey, Thomas, do you mind if I ask you something?" Olivia asked, her voice hesitant. "Of course, come on in," Thomas replied, wiping his hands on a dish towel. I know this might sound strange, but I've been meaning to tell you something. I've been living here for the last few months, and you probably don't know this, but I'm not just a college student," Olivia began, her voice quiet but steady. Thomas raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Olivia took a deep breath as though gathering her thoughts. "I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want you to treat me differently, but I think it's time you know the truth. I'm the daughter of Robert Lawrence, the CEO of Lawrence Enterprises. He's worth millions, and I've been living under his roof all my life. But I wanted to experience life outside of that. I wanted to live like a normal person, without the pressure, the expectations. So I came here. I rented this room without telling anyone. Thomas stood there in stunned silence. His mind raced. The quiet, humble girl he had grown so fond of was not who she appeared to be. She was the daughter of a millionaire, a person he could have never imagined. In his world. Why didn't you tell me? Thomas asked, his voice softer now, trying to process the information. I didn't want you to think I was just some spoiled rich kid. I didn't want you to treat me differently or pity me. I wanted to do this on my own, without anyone knowing who I was. And I think I've learned more from this experience than I ever would have from living in a mansion, Olivia said, her voice tinged with a hint of vulnerability. Thomas could see the pain in her eyes, the struggle of wanting to be more than just her father's daughter, wanting to find her own identity outside the confines of wealth. In that moment, he understood. She wasn't just hiding her wealth. She was hiding the emotional burden that came with it. As the weeks passed, Thomas and Olivia began to build a stronger bond. They would talk for hours, sharing stories of their lives, their dreams and their struggles. Olivia confessed that she had always felt lonely, even surrounded by wealth and luxury. Her father had always expected her to follow a certain path, to live a life of privilege and success. But Olivia had different dreams. She wanted to make a real difference in the world, to help people who were less fortunate, to use her privilege for good. Thomas, in turn, shared his own struggles. He told her about his wife's passing, about raising Emily on his own, about the constant pressure to keep his family afloat. He spoke of his dreams of providing a better life for his daughter, of one day being able to give her everything she deserved. Their conversations were raw, emotional, and healing. Over time, Thomas realized that Olivia had become more than just a tenant. She had become a friend, someone he could trust, someone who understood him in ways no one else could. One day, Olivia came to Thomas with a proposal. I know you've been struggling to make ends meet. My father, he's been trying to expand his business, and I think he could help you. He's been looking for someone to manage his real estate properties. You're exactly what he's looking for. What do you think? Thomas was taken aback. I don't know. I can't just take a job from your father. It feels wrong. Olivia smiled gently. It's not just about the job. It's about the chance to change our lives. I believe in you, Thomas. You've taught me that success isn't just about money. It's about character, about doing what's right. And I think my father sees that in you. After much contemplation, Thomas agreed. With Olivia's help, he secured the job and over time was able to turn his life around. His relationship with Emily improved, his bills were paid, and he found a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. But more importantly, Olivia found the freedom she had been searching for. She didn't need her father's money to define her. She had learned that true wealth came not from material things, but from the relationships you build and the lives you touch. In the end, Thomas realized that life had a way of throwing unexpected challenges at you, some of them difficult, others rewarding. But it was through those challenges that you found your true strength, your purpose, and your path. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Whispers of Kindness, for more stories that inspire and touch your heart. Remember, you never know how a simple twist of fate can change your life, and sometimes the most unexpected people can teach you the greatest lessons.